All right, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Do you guys remember when Donald Trump said to Sean Hannity in a town hall interview that success would be his retribution when Sean Hannity was drilling in or honing in on that particular question? And I believe that we're seeing that already with some of Trump's nominee picks. Guys, I got to tell you, this has been just an amazing week. Unfortunately, we have seen some of Trump's nominees that have been targeted. They've been swatted. Pete Hegseth being one of them. Several of them have been either swatted, Elise Stefanik, or at least threatened with their lives. This is absolutely insane. But I believe the reason why, I don't know where these threats are coming from. I don't know if they're credible or not, to be frank. They could be foreign threats for all we know, trying to interfere, post-election and just divide Americans. I really don't know. But I know the threats need to be taken seriously. But I suspect that if the threats are credible, and let's say for the sake of argument that those threats come from someone that's on the left, a radical on the left, then I think part of the reason why they're fearful, why they're angry, is because Trump is getting his retribution, albeit he's not in office yet. Guys, one of the best picks that I've seen thus far from Donald Trump, and he's had some great picks for nominees, but Dr. J. Bhattacharya. I want to play a couple of video clips for you. Dr. J. Bhattacharya, as you know, during the COVID lockdowns, was one of the courageous doctors that stood up, and Trump has nominated him to head the NIH. If that isn't retribution, I don't know what is. Putting someone that actually believes in science into the NIH, that is absolutely amazing to me. No more of this fascist Fauci stuff. We've also seen this week, and I'll get to that video in just a sec. We've also seen the J6 investigation looking less and less credible now. And that's being borne out as new information comes out about the reports that the J6 committee was a complete scandal and theater. And now that news is starting to come out. You had Judge Chutkan this week dismiss federal election charges against President-elect Trump. Also, you had Trump unveil tariff ultimatums against Canada, Mexico, and China. And as I speak, as I record, you have Justin Trudeau heading to Mar-a-Lago to meet with Donald Trump. Guys, I'm a free trade person, but I believe that you do and you can and you should use tariffs in order to gain the advantage over other countries. Is that going to cause a trade war? Yes, it can. Can it hurt Americans as far as prices? Let's be real. Yes, it can. Does China, does Mexico, does Canada want to get in a trade war with the United States of America? I believe that answer is no. And I believe you're starting to see some of these people react to Donald Trump already in a positive way. Hence, Justin Trudeau headed to Mar-a-Lago. In just a sec, we'll play some video of him reacting to the tariffs. You may recall that during the Biden administration, he was pretty big and bad. You know, the far lefty that he is, he loved the Biden administration. He did not like dealing with Trump, and he said so. But now he's going to have to deal with Trump. And guess what? It looks like he's groveling back. But Dr. J. Bhattacharya, let me tell you something. I got so excited when I heard the pick of Dr. J. Bhattacharya headed over to the NIH. Take that in your face, Dr. Fauci. I want to play a couple video clips for you. This is Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo has since changed his tune about COVID. Maybe it's because he was fired from CNN. I don't know. Maybe, or maybe he's just seen the light. Maybe he understands. Actually, I know he understood what was going on at CNN. But here he is in 2020 regarding the COVID lockdowns. Let's roll video clip number 5, please, Gabe, and then we'll roll the clip of Dr. J. Bhattacharya. But here's Chris Cuomo, formerly of CNN.
Dr. Atlas, okay, a guy with no pandemic experience. He literally would know more if he stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. He's saying, hey, you in Michigan, these measures to help try to control the spread, fight back. Are you kidding me? Shame on you. What kind of doctor would tell people to rise up and resist the only kind of prophylaxis that can help them. What the hell is the matter with this person? Rise up. You rise up and do your job or get the hell out. How could you give this kind of advice? Of course, Fauci was being measured. He says, I don't agree with his position. This isn't Fauci's fight. The science is obvious. This is about Trump and the Trumpers. He's going to have his main health guy stand up and say, fight back against the regulations to keep you safe. Listen to him. I'm not making it up.
And this kind of isolation is one of the unspoken tragedies of the elderly, who are now being told, don't see your family at Thanksgiving. For many people, this is their final Thanksgiving, believe it or not. What are we doing here?
What the hell are you doing here? Yeah, it could be their last Thanksgiving. If you expose them to people who aren't wearing masks, who aren't socially distancing, and haven't been doing so,
okay, we
and
can
haven't
cut
gotten
this.
tested.
You get the point.
Because
that was Chris Cuomo back in 2020, making a big brouhaha over the COVID jabs, the COVID vaccine, and making sure that people did not gather for Thanksgiving. He was frustrated that Dr. Scott Atlas was saying, "Hey, go spend time with your family. This is a sham." And of course, we all know that Dr. Scott Atlas was completely on target. Now, here's Dr. J. Bhattacharya, because he was standing up to the nonsense too. This is video clip number 7, please.
Scientific consensus in favor of them. That was a lie. There was never a scientific consensus on almost any of the topics. And as you say on masks, in fact, the pre-existing narrative, the pre-existing idea among most scientists before the pandemic was quite the opposite direction. What happened was a relatively small group, a cartel almost, of very powerful scientific bureaucrats took over the whole apparatus of science, at least as far as the public eye was concerned, dominated the media, dominated the message to politicians. And as a result, we had a catastrophic response to COVID, and we're going to be paying the cost of that for a very long time.
This guy's smart. He's ethical. He's absolutely brilliant. He's courageous. He stood up against the nonsense. Just a little bit of his background: Stanford School of Medicine. He focuses on health policy related to infectious diseases, COVID-19, and health economics. So, like Fauci, he isn't going to tell President-elect Trump to totally tank the economy, God forbid, where we'd experience another type of pandemic. So this guy, I believe, is going to restore the NIH to the gold standard. That's what President-elect Trump said. He said together, J and RFK Jr. will restore the NIH to a gold standard of medical research as they examine the underlying causes and solutions to America's biggest health challenges, including our crisis of chronic illness and disease. Together, they will work hard to make America healthy again. This guy has been published in economics, statistics, legal, medical, public health, and health policy journals. He earned his MD and PhD in economics from Stanford University. But again, I go back to, this is a guy actually of faith. This is a guy that's courageous. This is a guy that's smart. This is a guy that's ethical. Great pick. In your face, Dr. Fauci. We've also seen this week, as far as Trump's retribution is concerned, it looks, the J6 congressional committee looks less and less credible. Jonathan Turley wrote about it, that the J6 Capitol riot, even though it's still a matter of tense debate in political circles, you have more and more people that are saying, hey, listen, not a big deal to me anymore. Most Americans view this, according to a CBS poll, J6 as a protest gone too far. A Harvard study said that those arrested on that day were motivated by loyalty to Trump rather than a support for an insurrection. Not sure if I agree with that, if that's a good or a bad thing even. I think many of these people get caught up in the moment. Also, Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats never conducted a credible J6 investigation. So a lot of people are frustrated with that. You consider the scandal behind the J6 committee, from hiring a former ABC News producer to make the videos look good. The House Select Committee investigated J6, only looked at one side of the issue, one side of the argument. And all of this is bearing out. We have the lady, Cassidy Hutchins, I believe it's her, Hutchinson, lie about Trump, trying to take over the limousine that was being driven by the Secret Service. Liz Cheney played edited video. All of this stuff is coming out. Not to mention, if you recall, the BLM riots in the summer of 2020, when you had literally had protesters and actually rioters right near the White House. I mean, they had to be held out by fences. All of this stuff is starting to be bore out. And then you had Judge Chutkan dismissing the federal election charges against Donald Trump. Guys, when Trump said that success will be his retribution, he's not even in office as of yet. And we're already starting to see that retribution. When we get back, I want to talk about the death of DEI. We've got more on that. And also how the Trump tariffs has apparently made Justin Trudeau a very nice person all of a sudden. We'll be back. Hey guys, Carl Jackson here for My Pillow, and here's the story of My Pillow. It's a testament to faith and transformation. Mike Lindell once battled addiction, but he found a new path when he embraced faith and began following Jesus. In gratitude, Mike is excited to share an exclusive offer with our listeners. So right now, the standard My Pillow is just $14.88. That's a savings that's too good to pass up, especially with Christmas just around the corner. There's a limit of 10 per customer, so don't wait to take advantage of this amazing deal now by using the promo code Carl. Mike believes that God gave him the idea for My Pillow in a dream, and it's designed with your comfort in mind. The pillow holds its shape and adapts perfectly to your unique sleep position, helping to keep your neck aligned for the best night's sleep, and it keeps you cool as well. And there's more. You can take home a 4-piece kitchen set for just $25. Enjoy their new mattress topper starting at $99.99, or pick up the luxurious My Pillow bed sheets starting at $49.98. Again, visit mypillow.com or call 800-858-0263. Make sure you use that promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, to unlock huge discounts. Don't miss out. Order today. All right, welcome back to the final segment of the Carl Jackson Show. Please subscribe to our podcast wherever you go to get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever that may be. Also, all things social media at the Carl Jackson Show. All right, so Trump racked up a bunch of wins this week. I mean, his retribution is looking really good. I mean, just a lot of success that's being racked up. Now, obviously, former President Trump, now President-elect Trump, is not in office as of yet. But again, like I said, you already see Justin Trudeau meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, already capitulating, it seems to me, or willing to capitulate to some of Trump's tariffs, or not wanting the tariffs to hit Canada. And so he's willing to have a conversation with Donald Trump because these people need to seal up the borders. I want to play this video for you real quick, and we'll touch on that. I also want to touch on we'll touch on the tariffs. I also want to touch on the what appears to be the slow but certain death of DEI as more and more companies back away from it, including Walmart. And I want to talk to you about some black women, minority women that supported the Democrat Party, actually activists for the Democrat Party that are fed up, and I'll explain why. But first, before we get to that, I want to get to this video of the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. Let's play video clip number 19, his reaction to Trump saying, hey, listen, on day one, I'm gonna impose a 25% tariff on Mexico and on Canada if they don't stop and seal the borders or help us with our border policy. Let's go ahead and roll it. Video clip number 19, please.
Last night again, we obviously talked about laying out the facts, talking about how the intense and effective connections between our two countries flow back and forth. We talked about some of the challenges that we can work on together. It was a good call. This is something that we can do, laying out the facts, moving forward in constructive ways. This is a relationship that we know takes a certain amount of working on, and that's what we'll do. One of the really important things is that we be all pulling together on this. The Team Canada approach is what works. That's where, putting aside partisanship, that's where I reached out immediately to Doug Ford to agree with him that we would have a First Ministers meeting this week to talk about the United States. Talked with François Legault and some other premiers as well.
You mean you know how to seal the borders? You mean you know how to make sure that there are no illegal aliens coming in from Canada Canada to the United States. Why weren't you doing that before if you knew what to do? The answer is very simple. Donald Trump was no longer in office. I mean, it appears as though these people were just experimenting on us. All of these leftists, these globalists that don't believe in borders. Hey, listen, flood the United States of America with illegal aliens. And before they know it, they can't vote for their own best interests anymore because they will be overwhelmed by illegal immigrants. So this is a win for Donald Trump. This is a win for you. This is a win for the United States of America. These people could have been doing this all along, and they did not. The same is true with the Mexican president, and excuse me because I forget her name at this moment, but the same is true with her. At first, she was talking tough. Oh, we'll impose tariffs on Donald Trump. And then before you know it, now she's willing to work with President Trump when it comes to tariffs. I don't know who got in her ear. I don't know if she had time to think about it. I'm not sure what happened. But all I know is that tariffs can be effective when they're used as leverage. And that's exactly what Donald Trump is doing. The benefit of having Donald Trump saying that he will impose a 25% tariff against China, against Canada and against Mexico, and also against China is they believe him because they know that he will do it. And also now he has Scott Bessent that I'm sure will be nominated as the Secretary of Treasury that backs him on this very thing. All right, so that's Donald Trump is winning. What we are seeing, in my opinion, these ultimatums are working when it comes to tariffs. Again, Trump promised a tariff for China as well, according to the Daily Wire, that he said would remain in place until Beijing cracks down on the drugs that are flowing into the United States. And he singled out fentanyl. Guys, we have over 70,000 people. It was 100,000. Now, from what I've read, it's somewhere between 70 to 80,000 Americans dying annually of fentanyl overdoses. Seal the border, and you would see those deaths from fentanyl drop tremendously. All right. And Trump knows this. And China knows this. And so Trump will be on the ball, and they haven't followed through. Mexico hasn't followed through with their war against us, or a trade war, against us. And again, there are mixed reactions when it comes to Trump potentially starting this trade war. But as you can see, these leaders are acquiescing because their economies are worse than ours, quite frankly. And we still, at least for now, have the economic power to be able to make sure that they pay attention to the United States and that they seal the borders. You got hedge fund manager Bill Ackman that loves the ideal. Elon Musk, tech giant Tesla CEO, loves the idea. Now, I want to segue to another topic real quickly, and that is the death of DEI. That is falling apart. Guys, the election was a bloodbath, both with the popular vote and the Electoral College this year. And so the left is starting to wake up. Many of them are starting to wake up and see how this DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, all of this critical race theory, this cultural Marxism is no longer working for their corporations now. If Kamala Harris had won, this is why I don't give these companies that much credit. But if Kamala Harris had won, I suspect many of these companies probably would have doubled down. But not only did she lose, she lost so badly that these companies are realizing Americans are fed up with it. And it's actually good for them. It's good for their bottom dollar. I'm going to play the Walmart CEO real quickly. This is cut number 20. He's decided to give up DEI in his hiring practice. Let's go ahead and roll it, please, Gabe.
Pulling back on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs under pressure from a conservative activist. So a few of the changes here: phasing out the term DEI, winding down the Center for Racial Equity, no longer giving priority treatment to suppliers based on race or gender diversity, and preventing sellers from listing some transgender-related or themed items on the website. So is that accurate from what you're hearing, and why the changes?
Well, first of all, good morning, and thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I'm in Houston, Texas, in our Friendswood location, so it's exciting to be in the store this time of year. First, let me say, like many companies all across the United States, we've been on a journey, and we continue to be on a journey. And what we're trying to do is to ensure that every customer, every associate feels welcome here to shop and to feel like they belong. And that term belong, we've been talking about belonging now for almost 2 years. Early 2023, we started talking about belonging. And we're going to continue to make the best decisions we can that makes everyone, our customers, our associates, feel like this is an environment they can shop in and thrive in.
How do you make customers feel like they belong in Walmart? Gabe, do you know the answer to that? I know the answer to that. Bring in products that people like and products that people can afford. And guess what? Whether they're Latino, Black, white, Asian, they'll come in and buy your product. It's as simple as that. Get rid of this DEI. DEI has no place in America. It has no place in these companies. More companies are abandoning DEI, from Lowe's, John Deere, Toyota, Coors, Harley Davidson, Brown Forman that makes Jack Daniels, Tractor Supply Company. All of these companies are starting to abandon DEI because there is no cost benefit to DEI. Not to mention, you get a bunch of crappy employees that are always unhappy. And it costs. I mean, there's major costs when it comes to DEI. Christopher Rufo of the Manhattan Institute, I believe, also writes for City Journal, exposed that DEI, the federal government began using language years ago, DEI related language, and they had loans and all this kind of stuff, contracts that had DEI language that were up to $27 million are the contracts that were being sent out in 2020 as a result of DEI. That number under the Biden administration skyrocketed to $1 billion in just 4 years with government contracts with DEI related language, which just means that it is a cash cow. It's a moneymaker. The Treasury Department was awarded $2.8 million to Accenture Federal Services for DEI implementation. The Department of Health and Human Services was awarded $2.9 million. The list goes on and on. A company called Deloitte, for example, claimed to have spent $1.47 billion on diverse suppliers after they contracted with the federal government. The same is true with McKinsey and Company. They spent on DEI-related efforts across the globe a total of $7.5 billion. This is absolutely insane. And companies are starting to wake up and realize it. Guys, I am so glad that DEI is starting to die. And as a result, more of us in the future will be getting along. But we have to continue this fight. Not only does it need to be ripped out of our corporations, it needs to be ripped out of our institutions in totality. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good.